Hey everybody, Teddy J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope all is well with you and yours. What's good? What's good? What's good? Happy Friday. What's going on? Actually, we have a lot going on, but some good news. Apparently, some people are happy they watched my show and they were able to do well. So I'm happy about that. That actually makes me mad happy. Mad happy. So Michael McCaskill, happy for you, man. I need to know how the book is doing. Rick Ritchie, what's good, brother? So, people are probably wondering how I'm feeling today. I'm actually feeling a lot better. I'm not feeling 100% yet. My voice isn't fully back yet, but I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really good. Don't mind me. I'm just, while I'm speaking with you guys, I'm cleaning things up so we can get to the show, like really get to the show. Because there are a couple of things that I want to go over. And the most important question is, have you invested in yourself today? Right? That's always my biggest question. So whether you answer here or you answer someplace else, you answer in your head, put the good vibes into the universe and let us all know that you've invested in yourself. Because that is the big deal. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. And it all starts with investing in yourself, right? So let's get to some of this news. Coinbase believes that the $5 billion that's going to get, dispersed by FTX to people that they owe the money to, their creditors, could wind up being a boon for the industry. That could be true. That could very well be true. It depends. I don't know off the top of my head if what they're going to return to people is the amount of Bitcoin they were owed or a portion of it, or are they going to give them the value of the Bitcoin back then? I don't know. I'm not affected by it, so I didn't bother to do the research for it. But in this case, if you look at the bigger picture and you go, well, this Bitcoin could wind up, hitting the market, being held, whatever it is, it could wind up being a boon. It really could. $5 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's a little something. That is a little something to think about. So I kind of like that idea. Now, the other night we were talking about, Red Star was talking about the Zebek network or Zebek network. It surged 440% in 30 days, showing strong bullish momentum via BB Trends 16.64. I'm still not interested in this particular asset. I haven't done a deep dive into it. Just some of our community is actually into it and have been able to make money from it. I don't know personally, but I came across that article and I was like, it's pretty interesting. They have some pretty interesting numbers. So if you want to do your own research on that particular coin, I would advise you to do so. Not necessarily to go buy it, but to do your own research, getting the idea of having to do that, getting involved with doing your own tokenomic research and all of the good stuff. And if you happen to buy it, okay, that's on you. If you happen not to buy it, okay, that's on you. Just saying. But, like I said, some people had brought it up the other day and I thought it was interesting. Rick Ritchie did as well. Then we've got Meta. Poor little Meta. Eric Balchunas thought, he's the guy from Bloomberg, he's the analyst from Bloomberg, who thinks that Meta could wind up being the most forward-thinking company out there by integrating Bitcoin and not just making a purchase into Bitcoin. Well, the purchase into Bitcoin is not going to happen. Why? Because Meta shareholders rejected a Bitcoin treasury proposal by leaps and bounds. They were like, nah, like a landslide, no. Landslide, big fat no. That's what I'm talking about, Michael. Thank you very much. The idea of shareholders saying no by Meta also reminds me of what happened with Microsoft. Microsoft shareholders said no to a Bitcoin reserve, both to a Bitcoin reserve. But now I'm wondering if that vote was put forward again at Microsoft, would that hold true? Because there were rumors talking about, well, Microsoft might actually start getting into the crypto game. I just don't know from what direction. Remember, Microsoft has a very popular online store, and it's highly possible they could say, you know what? We're going to accept Bitcoin at the online store. That would be huge. Or more of it, because from what I understand, they used to, but I don't know if they kept going or turned it off. But it's not something that's presented to me when I've gone to the site. So that's something to contemplate. But if they were to do that, they have a lot. They actually have a lot of stores. Remember, they're facing corporate clients, retail clients, and developers. My company, we cover all of that. So it's interesting. It would be interesting to see if they actually did something like that. I'm just saying, I'm looking at this stuff and I'm kind of like, yeah, that could bode pretty well, right? Then U.S. banks are carrying about $413.2 billion in unrealized losses. And this is according to the FDIC. And the FDIC is warning of potential crisis of a potential crisis amid rising treasury yields and declining reserve coverage ratios. What they're saying is the banking industry is susceptible to negativity. Just saying. Yo, what's going on, Paula? Thank you for letting us know that you invested in yourself. That's what's up. So yeah, I'm thinking about, how that looks, because some of the top 4 banks, record profit. So that made me stop and go, well, the top 4 banks are national and international banks. What about those regional banks? Are we having problems in the regional area? Because that's what this report suggests. And that could be a problem. That could be a problem. So we need to pay attention to the banking industry, because if they're susceptible to these kinds of things, that's going to affect a lot of bags. It's going to affect a lot of bags. And, if there are small businesses out there, a lot of them are already being affected by the whole tariff thing. It's a problem. There was a little bit of hope the other day that, if the tariff gets called off and that court decision that said they had to make everybody whole, if that was to actually happen, that money would go back to those companies. I read a report that said, well, sure, even if that was to happen, it could go back to those companies. But after all that time, those companies could be out of business. That's pretty scary. That is pretty doggone scary. And my son does not realize that I am live at the moment. Give me one moment, everybody. Yeah, I will always take my kids' calls. They are number one. They are my heir. So yeah. So I have to call him back after the show. So that's okay. There's nothing wrong, obviously, if he says call me back after the show. I know my mother's listening, so there's no way in the world I'm not going to answer that call when my mother's on the line. The Fed let First Republic Bank fall in 2023. Fourth largest bank failure barely made the news. Yep. And you have to ask yourself, why didn't it make the news? Good. So what's up, Hutanic? So clearly you've done your research today. What else do we have? We have Rex shares. This is interesting, and you better listen. Rex shares filed ETFs for Ethereum and Solana using a C corporation structure to bypass SEC 19B-4 review with a 0.75% fee and Cayman Islands staking the subsidiaries. Damn! Effective immediately. Effective immediately. I want to know who thought of that. I want to, because I think it's a law from like 1940 or something like that. It's like from like way back, and they found it and they used it, and those are going to be live effective immediately. And so that begs the question, when are they going to get taken to court? Because if it were to stick, like if there's no way to take them to court because they haven't done anything illegal, the floodgates the flood gates. And then here's the other thing. So they just did this in this way. And so, wait a minute. They have other ETFs that they actually filed the traditional way. I'm giddy. I'm freaking giddy because they're literally saying to the SEC, catch me if you can. Catch me if you can. That's amazeballs. I don't care what anybody says. That is ballsy. That's shiny brass level move right there. And if it works, I have a funny feeling you're going to see a whole bunch of other companies do the same thing. Now, I would have to do some research on, I would have to do some research on what they're able to do and not do versus a traditionally filed ETF. But the way they did this sounds like these are real deal ETFs. It's just the corporate structure of those ETFs would be different. Why am I giddy? This one is for Ethereum and Solana. Let's check the notes. Eddie, check your notes, man. You've got notes all over the place. Yeah, so we're going to check all the notes. Do 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 do. Yeah, I know, I'm funny. So they've got one for staked C or SEI, SEI. They've got, bear with me, I'm just going through random notes. They have one for Litecoin. Let's see, who else? Did they do anybody popular? Hedera. Oh, Polkadot? No, Hedera. Grayscale did Polkadot. But they want Hedera. Damn. Hedera. Who else was this one? Oh, a reference to SEI again. So Hedera, Litecoin, SEI, Ethereum, Solana. If this works, how long will it be before they wake up and go, XRP, SUI? Think about this. Think about everybody that's, and here's something that's really cracking me up. They're doing this now. How come nobody found this a long time ago? Grayscale filed how many years ago, and it took them how many years to finally land one? That's why I'm saying, how long will it be before they get taken to court? How long will it be? And would that push a fight over the traditionally filed ETFs? Like, it's legal. It's in there. I have to go find it. I have to go find out specifically how they did it. But imagine. You have to be more specific. The FDIC exposure is around $10 trillion, according to AI. Applying to what? Applying to that bank comment that you made, or applying to the commentary I'm giving right now? I need a little bit more to go on. Deposits to regional banks. Deposits to regional banks. I get insured deposits, but are you talking about regional banks or all banks? All banks. I'd like to see what that effect would be minus the top four. Because all banks, no, you don't want to do all banks. The top four made profit, remember? Almost record profit. It's the rest of them that I have questions about. I mean, it's not a lot of money if you think about unrealized losses, right? It's $500 million. I mean, I say it like, I should just slap myself because I say it like it's not a big deal. I mean, I'm pretty sure if any one of us had $500 million, we'd probably all be really happy. we'd probably all be really happy. I mean, it could just be me, but I'm pretty sure we'd all be smiling right about now. Oh no, my bad. It's $413.2 billion in unrealized losses. So so like I said, remove the top 4 banks, put them to the side, and look at everybody else. 413.2 billion with a B in unrealized losses. Hutanic, I need you to comment on this. And what about that real estate stuff that we were talking about a few months ago? Don't. The next deadline, they still have the ability to kick it down the road again. Thank you for that, Rick Ritchie. But you see what I'm saying? They still have the ability to kick it down the road again. They've got like 50 bazillion ways and times they can kick it down the road before they must make a decision. And so far, they've just been la 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 la, can down the road. La 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 la, can down the road. But imagine. That's what I'm saying. If this way works for these guys, for Canary Capital, if it works, if it sticks, how many other ETFs will be done like this? And I want to compare traditional ETFs, that traditional path to create an ETF, versus this unconventional path to do an ETF. Now, think about this. It's unconventional, but it seems legal. Wow. So I'm interested to find out. So for that corporate structure, what's the reporting mechanism? Just what are the fees, penalties, anything else like that? Like, what are the normal operations for both, and compare the two? That is going to be amazing. Amazing. Just saying. I with all these big bad companies out there, Teensy Weensy Canary Capital found this. Teensy Weensy Canary Capital found this, and nobody else did. Or maybe they're the only ones that are doing. Everybody found it, but they're the only ones that are doing it. So yeah, wondering about that. My guess is that they'll pass those magically in a bear market when it's cheap for them. Let me tell you something. I agree with your point, by the way. But why are you choking so hard on this? Just do your job. Why are you not approving the filings that you already have? Just wondering. Rick Ritchie, this is why I kept saying I don't really see anything happening in June. I see a dead month in June. They're basically holding everything back. Like, no, we're not good. No. I don't understand. You believe August after government bills passing. I don't believe August. I believe maybe September, October. I'm a pessimist with this. I really am. Because there's no rhyme or reason to be holding back on this. Now, it could be that they believe that Powell, either in June or July, will finally lower the rates. I still don't see why you would. It's still, what's their favorite word? I say chaos. They say uncertainty. But there's still a tremendous amount of chaos in the space. Technically, there is enough leg room for him to say, okay, we'll lower rates. But imagine what happens after that. He lowers rates. Immediately, something happens with the T word, and that all disappears, and the market really shoots up. Now, what is his problem? Inflation in a huge fashion. in a huge fashion, it's inflation. So what happens? Dual mandate, jobs, inflation. And just because the market is doing well, it doesn't mean that it's going to stop jobs from being eliminated. There are a lot of companies out there that are planning layoffs, even companies that have made record profit. I haven't released it, but I did research on all the companies that have planned or have done layoffs, but have profit. Any kind of profit, but especially record profit. Wow. Why is the whole market crashing? What's up, Max Salas? Have you invested in yourself today? I wasn't going to bring it up, but I made a comment to the big baggers. I was like, is anybody else noticing the resilience of Bitcoin at the moment? I have. But it's been slowly creeping down in a familiar kind of way, just less. Right? Just less. But I'm sitting back and I'm looking at the resilience of Bitcoin and how fast things can pop. Well, you know, why did everything go down today? Let me get through the rest of the news first. How's that? B of A is holding $500 billion in bonds with 1% yield right now. So that is one of those big banks you were wondering about. Might be larger banks are high risk, like First Republic, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi, and I'm missing one. Who's the other one? JP Morgan Chase. Profit. Big profit. Bigly. But that's just me. It's just me. Nigel Farage proposed a 2029 crypto assets and digital finance bill aiming to cut crypto capital gains tax to 10%, mandate Bank of England Bitcoin reserves, and ban debanking. But see how that one works out. We'll see how that one works out. The mayor of Panama City plans Bitcoin acceptance for taxes and even canal fares. Wow. Talk about building a Bitcoin reserve real fast. Facing national law hurdles, but aiming to inspire broader crypto adoption throughout Panama. It's possible. But I'm glad they acknowledge that, hey, there are some laws that we might have to battle through to get there. In my opinion, it was due to pullback. Rick Ritchie, I'm sorry, but I disagree tremendously. A few days ago, I would have agreed with you. There's a little bit of profit taking. You know what I mean? There's some profit taking going on, but we haven't been up for days. So a pullback, I don't think that's a pullback. I think it had to do with tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs on, tariffs off in the past 4 days. 5. Because remember, it started off with tariffs on, then you got we literally just got the rhetoric of, you know, China's totally breaking the deal that we had. There was no deal. There was a deal. There was an agreement in theory, and then they still had to battle everything out and get everything done. I's dotted, T's crossed. And now he's saber rattling again and, you know, talking nonsense again. They totally broke the deal. There was no deal. So again, we're going into a weekend with nonsense, right? And so you're going to do that. It brings things down again. And why are things coming? And what? This is a wild freaking scenario, but let me break this off. Let me break this off for you. Whose company just raised $2.5 billion to buy Bitcoin? I'll say it again. I'll ask the question again. Whose company just raised $2.5 billion to buy Bitcoin? And Couple that with, we know when you use the T word that the market goes down. Huh. And so when Bitcoin goes down, you're able to do what? Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily what you know, I'm not saying that's necessarily planned like that, but I'm just saying it's a miraculous thing that a company would raise $2.5 billion to buy Bitcoin, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Bitcoin starts to dip. I'm just saying. I don't need you to show me the news on a chart. I can go to TradingView and they'll show you the chart with all the news at the bottom. It's not hard. They do that already. But I want you to go there and I want you to look up the T word against whatever Bitcoin chart you're looking at. Look at the T word, look at what Bitcoin does, and look at the timing of purchases. I'm just saying. I mean, it's nothing weird about that, right? I mean, even I was saying, well, if Bitcoin is here and I sell and Bitcoin drops just a little bit and I buy back in, I have more Bitcoin. I take all the money that I bought from up here, that I made from up here, and I put it back in down here. I have more of what I was buying, right? Hutanic, go to the corner. I just read what you wrote. But seriously, think about this. I mean, sounds like a conspiracy theory, except when you look at everything that's happened, that's literally how it's played out. That's literally how it's played out. If tariffs had that much effect, we would have seen a bigger pullback. Dude, I want you to go back to the first time he said tariffs. I did this before on a freaking video. Go back to the video. I show you the first time he talks about tariffs and the market tanks. It tries to come back up again. He says tariffs again. It tanks. It took us a while to get back to where we are now. A long while to get there. Oh, you mean today? Dude, over time, the effects of his words are just rolling off of people now. Taco is not what Captain Banana said the other day. Taco. So the more you speak it, the less people believe you. Hello, the boy who cried wolf. Same thing. So right now you're just seeing little nibbles. Before they were huge drops. Now they're smaller drops. That's what I'm saying. So do I think it's an effect of tariffs? Yeah. Look what happened last week, just before the holiday weekend. Tariffs. Okay. We take a little bit of a dip. We were knocking on the door of 112. We were less than $30 away from $112,000. We are now at $104,000. It's an $8,000 drop over time, right? Over time. And people are starting to not care. They're becoming numb to it. It's not able to move the markets the way he was when he first started talking about them back in April. So I get what you're saying. You're saying, and this isn't a debate. I'm telling you the numbers. Go do your own research. I'm telling you the numbers. I'm telling you how it worked out. So I'm not saying that it's planned, but I'm just saying that's how it worked out. And over the past few days, I'm going to say, well, a company announced that they're going to raise $2.5 billion to buy Bitcoin. And they knew what they were doing. That wasn't a decision that was made that day that they announced it. They knew exactly what they were doing. The market's down, or Bitcoin is down $8,000. So now when they go to negotiate buying that Bitcoin OTC, over the counter, partner to partner, or, person to person, whatever, they get to spend less money for that Bitcoin. It's just having less of an effect. For all those supporters of the current regime, I hate to say it to you, but the writing's on the wall. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's literally how things worked out. The timing is just uncanny. So even if it wasn't the overall plan, the timing is uncanny. Dude, you know what? Not for nothing, Hutanic. I think you're right. But it's all relative, though, right? It's all relative. And the truth is, there is an argument that'll say Bitcoin can move in those big bounds. But there's also reason to believe that the market won't be as volatile then, because Bitcoin would be used more. Well, crypto in general would be used more and more and more as a regular thing. So those sharp turns turn into smoother curves, which depicts what? Not really volatility, just markets up and down, right? Just saying. We've been moved in a 5,000 range for at least a few weeks, $8,000. It's crazy, and I hear you about what you are saying, but there is a lot more going on behind the scene. No. Other than people being in the know. Other than people being in the know about when they're going to make a move. No. A lot more going on behind the scenes. Are you serious with that? No, I don't believe so. This did not happen when the market was rocking last year and another coin was released that crashed the market. What coin are you referencing, sir? Would there be a pullback, to your other comment, would there be a pullback if Congress approved a crypto reserve? I don't know about that. I don't know that I agree with that one. You keep using the term pullback. You keep using the term pullback. Let's run with the idea that what you just said was correct, okay? Let's run with the idea that what you said is correct. Every time there's a Bitcoin conference, there's always a pullback after. Even Hutanic was saying that the other day, and even we said it. Well, yeah, probably after the conference, you're going to see things take a little bit of a dip. Got it. Previous to that, we had already started the dip. Why was that? Oh, because Trump decided to talk about China and tariffs. We've been hearing that for the past few days, driving the market price down for Bitcoin. I don't think it had anything to do with the Bitcoin conference, because I think people look at the Bitcoin conference and don't give a damn. Most people don't care about the Bitcoin conference. The Bitcoin conference, what happens at the Bitcoin conference? Everybody, the same thing every year. Everybody expects there to be big news, big news, big news. And every year there's Jack. There's between Jack and squat. Every year. Every year, no doubt, which is why there's such a buildup before. Oh, there's probably going to be really good news coming out of this, and nothing. And nothing. Goose egg. Previous to the Bitcoin conference, what stole the thunder from the Bitcoin conference this year? Oh, it was the Middle East trip where Trump was actually out there selling them NVIDIA. That's what happened. Other than that, the only thing I see is manipulation by using a certain word to drive the market down. I'm sorry. I just don't see. Again, I'm going to say it. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just uncanny timing, right? It's just uncanny timing. We won't talk about all the other times that he used that same T word and other people got rich because they knew when the market was going to take a dive and they knew when the market was going to come back up. Because how did he control the market coming back up? Oh, I'll kick the can down the road about that. Each time. I don't think this had anything to do with a traditional Bitcoin conference pullback. The Bitcoin conference means nothing to nobody. I think this is the last year that anybody's going to pay attention to it because it became a political conference. That's what it became. To me, it was a big fat farce. As soon as they said Peter Schiff was going to be speaking, I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm done. It's ridiculous now. So, yeah, Hutanik, stay your little behind in the corner. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. But yeah. So again, it's uncanny timing when people are making money. It's uncanny timing. For all those people that are supporting the current regime, you mean to tell me that you don't see how many times he has said or done something and one of his companies came out really ahead? How'd that happen? How they know how to position themselves? The ultimate insider, right? But that's just conspiracy theory. I'm going to go back to timing. I'm just going to go back to timing. I'm going to say it's uncanny timing. Yeah. Now, something I wanted to bring up. And I'm going to read you what I wrote this morning. Have I been wrong about the budget, the new budget bill? I thought it was going to be a $4 trillion hit to the deficit. I just found out it could, over 10 years, it could be a $20 trillion hit or tacked on to the current deficit over 10 years, $20 trillion. In what universe can we sustain that? In what universe? That's a $57 trillion deficit. How? No, dude, I thought it was 4. Did you really tell me? Wait, who are you responding to? Hutanik, I just read something else that you typed. You need to go stay in the corner. You're choosing violence today. I see what's going on here. You told me that a few weeks ago about the bill being $20 trillion. And I missed it? See, and I was reading that it was $4 trillion in the first 4 years. You're telling me it's $7 trillion in the first 4 years. Either way, it's bad. Your version is horrible. So, over the next 10 years, what does that do? So, over the next 10 years, whoever becomes president is going to be saddled with that and saddled with trying to fix it. And when they fail, it will be looked upon as their fault. $20 trillion. Wow. I'm not going to understand anybody that defends the current regime ever. I will not. I just cannot understand it. Cannot understand it. How do you defend that? That's literally destroying the country from the inside. Cannot be sustained. When I look at Senator Ron Johnson, I think he's a freaking idiot. Why? Because he says, oh, our problem isn't getting money in, it's spending money. It's not collecting money is our problem. Not collecting the money that's owed to the government because we're too busy pardoning people that owe the government millions. Help me understand this. I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I don't think I'm going to be able to understand that. It's not a political statement. This is affecting our bags. I have yet to hear any politician from either side of the aisle actually say, let's have a discussion on how we're going to solve this problem. Not conservative Republicans, not liberal Dems, nobody. I'm hearing crickets when it comes to let's have a conversation about how we can solve this problem. All I hear is, corporations need the tax write-offs and, everything's going to trickle down or whatever. Hasn't happened in years. Has not happened ever. How do we do it? That's why I said either side, man. That's why I said either side. This whole thing started in 2001, by the way. Whole thing started in 2001. We had a good budget. Zero. 2001, everybody decided not to care about deficits. And from 2001 to 2025, today, we're at $36 trillion in debt. And nobody's yet to say anything about how we're going to solve the problem. All the old geezers need to get kicked out. All the ones that, just all they want to do is spend, give their cronies tax write-offs, build bridges to nowhere. All of them need to be kicked out. All of them need to be kicked out. We need professionals that actually understand what's going on, that can advise, who's in office. Here's the other part. Term limits. There need to be term limits. We shouldn't have anybody serving for that long. We're talking like 30 years. We had 3 Democrats die this year that were in office for a long time. It's like, no, it shouldn't be in office for a long time. And let them feel the same pain that everybody else is feeling. In what other job can you serve 2 terms and have benefits for life? In what job do you get that? They get benefits for life. That immediately separates them from the rest of the country, right? Cut that out. Term limits. Immediately, across the board, that would do it. That would do it. I just sit there and we've got to solve this problem. And we're not the only country that has this problem, mind you. Japan has it. Russia has it. China has it. England has it. Name a country. Almost all of them have it. Massive debt beyond their country's means. We have the largest amount of debt, right? But everybody's carrying debt bigger than their country can handle. The whole world is at that, not the whole world, but most of the countries, most of the developed countries around the world are at that level. How do you solve it? Everybody's still flailing about trying to milk the system and instead of trying to figure out how do we fix the problem. Start the conversation. Start the conversation and stop the BS. Don't call it, a misspoken word. Call it the lie that it is. Don't let people sit there and point the finger. Let's have a conversation without pointing fingers. Forget about who caused the problem. Let's talk about how to solve the problem. And anybody that raises their hands and says we should give that company a tax write-off for it, they're out. Nobody wants to have that conversation. Pardoned? You get pardoned when you owe the government $4.4 million? Rick Ritchie, I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that. I think that if corporations started paying their own way and we stopped giving everybody, a way to avoid paying their taxes, right? we'd be collecting a lot more money every year because they'd be paying what they're supposed to pay. Let's stop taking it easy on companies that are offshoring hundreds of thousands of jobs, right? Let's stop playing the game that's trying to blame other countries for our exporting of our manufacturing capabilities. When you look at the rhetoric that's going on, when you listen to the rhetoric that's going on now, we're blaming other countries for picking up what we left behind. Let's take accountability for it. Let's take accountability for it. We did it. Nobody else did that. Nobody came here and took manufacturing from us. We gave it away. Let's start there. Let's stop this game of pretending that it's somebody else's fault. It's nobody else's fault. As a country, we did that. As a country, we're allowing these companies to give away jobs. Let's cut that out. While we're at it, why don't we take that same attitude and fix healthcare? Pay money into healthcare, and then they decide they don't want to pay your bill, and then you can't get anybody on the phone to explain to you why you can't pay the bill, but you could point out in the contract that it says you'll pay the bill. Let's get off that. Let's stop playing the game that the world isn't smaller and technology is not here where you can actually go review the laws and practices of other countries in real time. Universal healthcare works in other countries. Stop saying it can't work here. Stop saying that. Oh, well, those countries are small. What do you think? Do you think the United States is huge? Seriously? Is that what you're thinking? It's not. Let's stop thinking that. Let's stop thinking that. Let's stop being at war with each other over dumb stuff. We have a monetary problem. Let's sit down like adults and fix our monetary problem. I'm not speaking Swahili. It doesn't take a lot to figure out that a person that makes $1 million a year should be paying more in taxes than a person that makes $50,000 a year. There's no reason why that $900,000 above that you pay less taxes in percentage versus everybody that's below you. That shouldn't happen. This all affects our bags. We need to get smart about this. Go read the bill. Go research the bill. Give it to AI and have AI tell you. Poor people will pay more for this. Poor people pay more for that. More for this. More for that. More. Wealthy, less. Are any of those things that were promised in the bill? Oh, no taxes for this. No taxes for that. No taxes for this. No, they're not. That was discussed on the Senate floor. Yeah. Do your own research. Know your entries and exits and invest. Absolutely. Or absolutely invest deliberately. Sorry. We've got to do that. We've got a bigger problem than what people care to actually sit down and discuss. So they keep having us at odds with each other, and we shouldn't be. We're all in the same boat. Everybody down here is in the same freaking boat. We shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be helping each other grow up, right? Because we're in this boat. They're over here on the starship going to freaking Mars. Yeah, buddy. I'm not spewing nonsense. I'm not spewing politics. I'm talking about economics. This is just simple stuff. We have to have hard discussions. We need to have hard discussions. Any kind of tax cut is stupid. It's insane. Let's stop talking about tax cuts. There should be no tax cuts. Let's go start collecting money from the people that owe it, especially from those that can afford it. Didn't file your taxes? You get the same penalty as if you filed false taxes, right? Let's go. Chop, chop. Get in the bank. I'm pretty sure that checkbook will open up real fast. No, you don't get no deal. You get zero deal. Oh, well, if I wait, they'll cut me a deal. I'll only pay 10% on the dollar. No. You're going to pay the whole freaking thing. Go sell one of your freaking yachts. Living off of debt, are you? I have a solution for that. If you're one of those wealthy people that's living off of debt, you have a portfolio that's worth something. That portfolio has value. Somebody's valuing that portfolio. Whoever's in control of that portfolio, tell you what, charge them tax on that value. So it doesn't necessarily get rid of the loophole, but it gets rid of the benefit of that loophole. Don't have time to go digging through to solve that loophole problem. That's how you get rid of it. That's how you get rid of it. Again, I'm not talking Greek. I'm not talking Swahili. Simple economic stuff. I get on you guys all the time about doing your own research, knowing your entries and exits, and absolutely investing deliberately. First investment is in yourself. The first investment in yourself, what do I tell you? It's always your own education. Don't let them dummy you down. You want to know something? Harvard has classes right now that you can take for free that'll teach you this stuff. Go take them. A lot of the colleges out there have free courses that will teach you about this stuff. Your ability to claim ignorance over how the economy works is done. It's over. It's over. I'm not going to have conversations with people that want to have arguments about this, that, the other, the mother, the cat, rat, dog, green, goldfish, whatever the hell. I'm not going to have that conversation with them. I'm going to recognize them as the idiot that they are, and I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to keep it moving. At this point in time, if we cannot sit here and say that we have a $37 trillion problem right now, and as Rick Ritchie pointed out, and I will give him the credit, I did not pay attention that day. I must have been sleeping. There's going to be a $7 trillion hit within the next 4 years. There'll be a $20 trillion hit over the next 10 years. That will span the next 3 presidencies. So, can our country survive that? So either we get smart and we start thinking about this, or we continue living in ignorance and watch everything crumble. And by the way, if the United States crumbles, thus goes the world. I'm not trying to say that the United States is better than the rest of the world. I'm just saying that we have a huge economy and it will crush the world. Moody's downgrading us. They were the third company to downgrade us, right? AA1. Woo! Nobody's paying attention. Scott Bessent, Mr. Economy, was like, oh, they're backward looking. Oh, you drank the Kool-Aid, sir. You jumped into the vat and guzzled it. This is a guy who knows better. This is a guy who knows better. Skip that. Skip that. You want to have people run the country? Get a single mother. Get a single mother. She knows how to stretch a dollar. I know my mother does. There are too many single mothers out there that know how to stretch a dollar. Amazing how this country cannot learn to stretch a dollar. Government officials, politicians leaving Washington to hop on private jets of their friends to go back home or whatever. Seriously? Term limits? No lifetime health care unless it's universal for all? And let's fix the deficit. There are easy ways to fix the deficit. Let's do that. Let's do that. Are there smarter people out there than me? Of course. I know a lot of them. I know a lot of them. My kids are smarter than I am. Seriously. What we're teaching our children right now is to not trust the government, not trust anything. Our kids right now look up and they look at us and they kind of go, screw those people. They're the ones that screwed it all up. They're the ones that screwed it all up. And they leave us holding the bag. We said this years ago. We're going to make our kids hold the bag. And that's what happened. I know people that supported this current regime that are now sitting there saying to themselves, damn, what the hell? I thought this is not what I thought was going to happen. Do you want to know why you didn't think this was going to happen? Because you didn't follow the first rule of the GMB3. Do your own research. Do your own research. Verify everything. But now we're taking a monetary hit. I told you guys before, why do I invest? I'm investing now because I'm investing in my last name, not my first name. I don't give a flying fuck about me. I care everything about my kids. And if we don't invest now, you can forget it. Like I said, the bulk of us are down here. I'm talking about just being able to survive. We're going to have to invest. If every country is in debt, where do you think the money is going from? Are you serious? Going from or coming from or going to? Look at the number of wealthy around the world. They just keep getting wealthier. Where do you think the money is going? Then you should know there isn't enough money to pay our debt. Like the other country can't pay theirs. Like I said, 36 trillion isn't a drop in the bucket. No, it's not. But can you pay it? Can you get it down? Yes. You can cut your spending and you can collect the money from those that owe you money. We're talking billions a year, man. More than billions. We're talking a lot of money per year. Is that a small number? No. But over time, can you get there? Yes, you can. Just saying. Hutanik has said that before. The dollar represents debt. It is. It's a promissory note. So I'm not saying that it's completely insurmountable. I don't believe in 100%, 0%. So I still believe that there's a chance that we could beat this, but we're not going to beat it by not collecting the money from those that actually owe us money. That's how it's not going to happen. You know why I said term limits? It's because term limits should go with can't come from a lobby and can't immediately go to a lobby. Once you're done serving, you are done. You're out. Done. Minimum 10, 15 years of working for a lobbyist afterward. Same thing on the way in. Can't come from a lobbyist going in. Name a politician that doesn't have a special interest group. I mean, literally, we took hundreds of millions of dollars and literally built a bridge to nowhere. Go look up the bridge to nowhere. That's a real thing. Shit like that shouldn't happen. Not while I have veterans still trying to get medical coverage. Not while I have veterans sleeping on the street. Not when I have grandparents trying to figure out where their next meal is coming from. Not while I have homeless on the street. Are you kidding me? Not while the government is literally taking away education, because education is our strongest tool, right? We're the worst grades in the country. Inner cities and rural areas. Why do you think rural areas can't get good internet coverage? It's on purpose. These are not, theories. It's not theory because, just because somebody says it's a theory, but it's worked out that way. Again, uncanny timing. Uncanny timing. Just saying, at some point we need to literally figure out a way to sit down and have real conversations. That'd be nice. That's just me. Anyway, I still have work to do. It's 9 o'clock. I think you're probably bored with me being on my soapbox for a while. I'll probably get on tomorrow. I might get on tomorrow. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I'll probably get on tomorrow because I still have a lot of research to do. The only way to fix it is no one will be able to stomach it. The small people don't have enough to pay it. Shit goes down. It does. But stop looking down and start looking up. Start looking up. I mean, I want you to stop and think about this. You had $200 million to spend on the presidency? How much money did you pay in taxes? But you had $200 million to blow on a presidency. Justin's son spent $75 million investing in one of the new regime's businesses, World Liberty Financial. $75 million. Straight into the coffers. Straight into the coffers. Really? After your campaign, all that money, straight to where the country needs it. Homes, food, medication. The whole point of government is to take care of its people. Again, stop looking down. Stop trying to make that argument looking down. We'll never get there because they can't afford it. No, because the people up there can. The corporations up there can. They can afford it. No company should be having record profits while having layoffs. Are you serious? Why are they having layoffs? Oh, because they just signed a contract with this overseas company to take a whole bunch of jobs. So they'll be able to keep making that money. Oh, they'll only be able to keep making that money until the last person here can't afford their products or services. And then what do we fall into? Indentured servitude? Because we need food, we need a place to live. Huge corporations buying single family homes for what reason? To never sell them. To drive up the price so that nobody can afford them. The only thing they'd be able to do is rent one. Seriously? Nobody destroyed the American dream besides the United States. We destroyed our American dream. Universal basic income? Yeah. We should research that. Should it be universal basic income, or should it be, we can afford to build those homes. We have tons of land all over the place. We have abandoned towns. There are homes. There's property out there. Nobody should be homeless. Nobody should go hungry. Nobody should not get their medical needs met. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And so that we don't fall into that trap, we've got to invest to make ends meet. Just saying. Just saying. If you've got information that'll prove me wrong, show it to me. I have no problem with that. But if your shtick is going to be that tax cuts for the ones up here are going to help the country, the ones up here don't shop in the neighborhoods that I go to. That doesn't happen. The money never leaves that level. Real and true. Those are facts. Stop that stupid thinking. That's what we need to do. We need to stop that stupid thinking. We need to get everybody educated. There shouldn't be a state that has a higher education rate than other states. That shouldn't be. Everybody should be educated. This school on this side of town has lousy books, and this school on the other side of town has brand new, sparkly, shiny computers. That shouldn't happen. Even across the board. Even and high. That nobody wants to say it to you, but we're losing out to other countries. Are you kidding me? People used to come to the United States to learn. That's been dwindling down for years. Other countries have just as good or better education. Just saying. You have your kids leave the country so they can understand and learn about other cultures. Let's start thinking. Let's start thinking. Everybody, this is Eddie J on cryptoforgrowmybag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes, tell your friends about us. We have a lot of things that we can do here. We can help each other grow. We can help each other learn. And we can learn more about investment so we can better our lives and that of our children, or those of our children. Let's do that together. I love that part. Everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.